Throughout history, methods of execution have ranged from the primitive to the highly sophisticated, each with its own level of brutality and efficiency. However, the concept of mobile execution units, particularly the death vans used in modern China, brings a chilling new dimension to the practice of capital punishment. The use of mobile death vans in China began in the early 2000s, purportedly as a more efficient and humane alternative to traditional methods such as firing squads. These vans, introduced under the leadership of President Jiang Zemin, were designed to streamline the execution process, allowing for a swift transition from sentencing to execution. The death vans are essentially modified police vehicles, often resembling ambulances. Inside, they are equipped with medical-grade facilities designed for administering lethal injections. The interiors are sterile and clinical, with a stretcher, restraints, and the necessary apparatus for delivering a lethal dose of drugs. The design of these vans is intended to make the process as quick and controlled as possible, ensuring that executions can be carried out discreetly and with minimal disruption. The interior of a death van includes state-of-the-art medical equipment to monitor the condemned's vital signs, ensuring that the process follows a certain protocol. The administration of the lethal injection is managed by a team of medical professionals who ensure the drugs are administered correctly. These drugs typically include a sedative to render the individual unconscious, an anesthetic to prevent pain, and a substance that induces cardiac arrest, leading to death. The mobile nature of these vans allows them to be deployed anywhere in the country, avoiding the need for fixed execution facilities. This mobility also aids in maintaining secrecy, as the vans can move swiftly and inconspicuously to carry out executions. This aspect has made it easier for the authorities to manage the logistics of capital punishment without drawing public attention. The execution process begins with the arrest and sentencing of the condemned individual. In China, capital crimes include murder, drug trafficking, and corruption, among others. Once the individual is sentenced to death, the execution is scheduled. On the day of the execution, the condemned is transported to the death van. The secrecy surrounding this process is often intense, with little to no public announcement. The condemned person is usually heavily guarded, and the entire process is conducted with a high level of security to prevent any form of resistance or escape. Once inside the van, the condemned person is strapped to a stretcher, and the executioners, often medical professionals, prepare the lethal injection. The drugs used typically include a sedative, an anesthetic, and a substance that induces cardiac arrest. The aim is to ensure a swift and painless death, though the ethical implications of this method remain highly controversial. The executioners administer the injection, and within minutes, the condemned person is declared dead. The entire process is designed to be efficient and to minimize the possibility of complications. Once the death is confirmed, the body is removed from the van and taken to a morgue or crematorium. One of the primary reasons for the introduction of death vans was efficiency. By eliminating the need for a fixed execution site, these vans allow for a more flexible and rapid response to the scheduling of executions. Additionally, it is argued that mobile execution units reduce the cost associated with maintaining permanent execution facilities. The Chinese government has promoted death vans as a more humane alternative to traditional methods like firing squads, which can be messy and traumatic for both the condemned and the executioners. Lethal injection in a controlled environment is presented as a cleaner, more dignified way to carry out the death penalty. Despite the government's rationale, death vans have faced significant criticism from human rights organizations worldwide. Critics argue that the use of these vans lacks transparency and accountability, leading to potential abuses. The rapid and secretive nature of the executions raises concerns about the fairness of the judicial process and the possibility of wrongful executions. One of the most disturbing allegations associated with death vans is the potential for organ harvesting. Reports have emerged suggesting that organs of the executed are harvested and sold, sometimes even before the person is confirmed dead. This practice, if true, represents a severe violation of human rights and adds a macabre dimension to the use of mobile execution units. The psychological impact on those involved in the process, from the executioners to the medical personnel, is another area of concern. The routine nature of executions in these vans can lead to desensitization and moral disengagement, further dehumanizing the practice of capital punishment. Historically, execution methods have varied widely in their brutality and perceived justice. From crucifixion in ancient Rome to the guillotine during the French Revolution, each method reflects the values and technological capabilities of its time. Death vans, with their modern clinical approach, represent a unique evolution in the practice of capital punishment, combining efficiency with a veneer of medical legitimacy. In comparison to other modern methods, such as lethal injection in a fixed facility, death vans offer a mobile, flexible solution. However, this mobility also introduces new ethical challenges, particularly in terms of oversight and the potential for abuse. The secretive nature of the process stands in stark contrast to the increasingly transparent and regulated execution procedures in other parts of the world. However, the adoption of such a method by one of the world's largest countries could influence other nations to consider similar practices. This potential for a global shift towards more secretive and efficient execution methods is concerning for human rights advocates who fear it may lead to a resurgence of less humane practices worldwide. International pressure has played a role in highlighting the ethical issues associated with China's death vans. Organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch continue to monitor and report on these practices, advocating for global standards that ensure transparency and human dignity in the implementation of the death penalty. Thank you for watching this video. Do subscribe to our channel Medieval Mind for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one.